Hello and welcome to DungeonRole, games and adventure from across the tabletop. Okay, welcome to another episode of our Five Cities D&D 5th edition role-playing game. The guys are back. As you can see, we're not actually in the dungeon this time round. It being sub-zero temperatures, we thought it would be better just to do it indoors. Safer for everyone. I'm Pete, the DM, and in a moment I'll get the guys just to reel off their name, their character name, and a little bit about them. Hopefully you caught up on previous episodes. If you haven't, just check out our notes below in the video description. Please like, comment and subscribe as before, as we always say. But I will pass over now to Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm playing a character called Cormac. You can see my stats. I am playing an incredibly short, I forgot the name of it, Himlac fighter who is trying to prove that he can be just as good as any other race as a fighter. And that's about it right now.
There we go. I'm John. I'm playing Saint, who is a paladin of Abutar, the god of knowledge and the unknown. Not your average paladin. I'm more a dungeon diver / explorer than a tanky hitty thing, so should be interesting.
Hi, I'm Roger. I'm playing Aurelian. I'm a human or Nalosi in this world cleric of Usion.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm totally paying attention. I'm playing a human ranger, and I'm still trying to work out what my spells are, because apparently that's a thing now.
Yeah, you got spells
Yeah,
now.
we just leveled up. So.
Yeah.
I'm Simon. I'm playing Poot, who's about as close to a gnome as I can get, and I'm
That always sounds a bit dodgy.
yeah, and my character's probably a little bit disturbed. So,
Excellent. Well, that sounds great. Okay, so far our 5 brave adventurers have headed out from Onsmouth, out onto the Strike, looking for Hamver, a missing reeve who is in the service of Baron Stevon Ermot. They've made their way through 3 small villages, the first Tallpine, then Oakheart, and then Greenrise. And they saw that each of them got smaller as they went. Talked to various people. They could see that Hamver and his mercenaries.
That's a small door.
It's like,
Tiny.
It was nice to meet you.
And I'm like
Yeah.
1 foot tall going, now you know how I do.
Finally. Yes, everyone seemed to have seen Hamver and his 2 mercenary friends, Magnus and Darius, but hadn't seen them come back. So you guys were making your way to Greenrise. You got attacked on the road by bandits who looked a bit straggly, and then you made your way to Greenrise, and the log cabins, which effectively what the village was, were abandoned. And then after you made some noise and commotion, someone came back and set a fire. Shirin, who runs the small community, came back with a very injured Magnus, and he had some form of corruption, or some black liquid dripping off his wounds, part of his limbs missing, which Saint cured. And then you were about to settle down for the night, and you hadn't quite decided who was going to stay and have a long rest, or who was going to go and take them back to Oakheart so they got there safely.
There's a song there.
So, anyway.
Oh.
I have to stay because I've just used a lot of my power in healing this corruption, so I'm staying.
Yeah, same. I've used all of my power healing them.
I can go because I'm awesome.
Well, we're taking them back to safety. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we need to talk to Magnus to find out where the taxis are. It might be easier to do that before we leave.
Yeah, so I can speak to him because I know him and just have a chat with him about where
So he was, if you remember, you kind of healed him up and then he passed out into a little bit of sleep.
Yeah.
Because obviously he'd been through quite a harrowing experience.
So I think we should ask him in the morning.
Yeah.
Because
But the only other thing is that Sharon said that
Shirin.
Sharon.
Sharon.
Sharon is his northern.
I actually can't. What the hell's he saying?
That,
I can't understand him.
that she thought that they knew. She thought that what his name is, Hanva knew where that there were dodgy stuff going on. So she thinks that they were sent there by the Baron. So it might just be worth, when you're talking to him, just
Oh yeah, well,
you might find some.
I'm not taking him to some seedy corner and having this as a private conversation. So yeah.
No, I know, but but I'm like one of the most unlikable people in this group. So
We all know that.
I don't want to be asking
I
questions.
don't know because I can't understand.
I'll translate. For those of us
you hate it.
for those of us who can't speak.
Yeah.
What language are you actually speaking?
So I know two. So
Pick one.
pick one.
Don't speak both of them.
So I Torag or Ferric.
You can speak either. I can speak both.
Well, I'd speak Ferric if I were you, because then more
Go with
people
Ferric.
will understand you.
And then I'll speak Marik to you.
Okay, well, I think we're just
It's quite
going.
it's quite a blunt, abrasive language compared to Quesh.
I think we're
It just
just
sounds a bit squeaky, really, isn't it? You know what I mean?
starting our night's rest rather than
Okay, so
waiting for him to.
those of you who are taking a short rest, you may spend your hit dice to recover hit points. You are now second level, so you have 2 hit dice each. You can spend those if you want to recover hit points. Those of you who are going to stay for a long rest, you'll recover all your hit points, as long as nothing happens during the day to disturb your long rest.
Let's dig a hole and get in it, because then they can't disturb us.
Okay,
Safely interred.
and Aurelian, if you remember, you had a disturbing dream in the night. That you were standing on a kind of broken tundra, and in front of you there was an impossibly tall and wide ice wall, almost as if it never ends. And there's a big crack in the wall, and through that crack you could see a strange yellow and red eye staring at you through it. And then you woke up.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a restful night's sleep that was.
I feel rejuvenated.
Okay, so you wake up and Shirin is moving about the building.
It's her house, isn't it?
How's she looking?
She's looking okay.
Yeah.
She's looking scared
Yeah.
and tired, but yeah, she's looking in one piece now. Whereas Magnus has kind of moved him off the table and put him on a low sort of bench bed type affair with blankets over him, and he's kind of stirring. He's just waking up from a really long sleep.
I'll go and sit next to him and just kind of wait for him to rouse a bit more.
He kind of, his eyes slowly open and he looks up at you. And they look like the whites of his eyes have gone grey. They're kind of weird, poultry grey. And he looks across at you and he just shakes his head. Why do we go there?
So I don't know. Mouse, do you recognise me?
Call me?
He said, yeah, yes, from last year.
What? Sort of shuffles about a bit, and then he starts to panic as he realises that he's not necessarily all that he was.
I try and just calm him down and say, no, you're fine. You've been, you're not, you don't have any.
Will they pay
corruption or anything.
to have me restored at the temple?
Just like, well, look, you're fine. Look at yourself.
There's something in the earth. There's something in there. In the hill, we went up the hill, and there was some sort of cave. Darius and Hammond, I think they knew it was there, and they just went straight in. There was a horrible smell. It was so cold.
What happened with them?
There was a shaft that went down into the earth, and they had I don't know why Darius had a long rope until we got there. He had like 150-foot rope, and he dropped it down that shaft, and we climbed down into the darkness, and I barely got out. She came and saved me.
I take it Sharon's like listening in.
Yeah.
What language is he speaking?
She said he is speaking Marik.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Everyone speak Marik?
Yes.
I mean,
I'm glad I can.
Yeah, I can't.
Just
So, yeah, translate that stuff.
No, I don't really need to know.
Shirin comes over and goes, yes, some of your bumps and bruises may have been from when I tied that rope to you and pulled you up. Took a while, but...
So, okay, well, we're here from the Baron. He sent us after you to find out what's going on. What?
We got all the we got all the taxes. We got all of it.
Just like where is it? We're told it's been buried. We should return that.
Yes, they thought it wise to bury it so it didn't get stolen, and we couldn't carry it down some sort of cave with us. That would be foolish. It's in the woods. I can tell you where it is.
Yeah. Is it far? Or?
It's 40 paces from the big oak tree that you can see out the front door.
I see. So not like half an hour's journey.
No.
Okay. That's good. Well, we're going to get you back, hopefully in one piece to initially to Oakheart, and then I think we should. I'm looking around at these guys now. Then I think we need to.
I don't know what happened to the others.
Call the whatever they're called.
Strykers.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. There was a strange blue glow coming from the corridor. We got attacked, and last I saw Hanva, I was walking away from Darius and I into some long corridor following this blue glow.
So Hanva was okay when you saw him?
Yes, and then I barely survived. I blacked out, and the next thing I knew, my head was banging against the interior of the shaft as Shirin was pulling me up.
Mm-hmm. It's awful. Well, we're going to make sure you're okay. Pat on the shoulder.
Thank you. Oh,
Other shoulder.
oh, that's the bad one.
Let's go and dig up this gold.
We should probably do
Okay,
that
he gives you
afterwards.
slightly more
Wait till they're all
specific
gone,
instructions.
Mhm.
You go to a certain tree,
I
you
meant
turn
when we
due
were on the
west,
way
you
back.
take 40 paces, and it's
Otherwise
buried
we'd have
under
to
a
carry
big
all that
thicket
gold
of
with us.
thorns.
Okay. And how's he doing? Can he walk?
He's okay,
Yeah.
but he's like lost part of his leg and arm, so he's kind of debilitated. You need to put him on the cart,
Yeah.
or rig up
Good thing
some
we got a cart.
elaborate
Yeah.
fake leg.
See,
Well,
Yes, you can put
Have
him
you
on the
met players?
Yeah.
No,
I just saying I can do that.
Oh, you could do, couldn't you?
I could, if he doesn't mind it being made of some material that we've got around. I could make him a leg.
I think we should get these two back to Oakheart and start.
Yeah.
Is Shirin coming too?
I would recommend it.
I could show you where this cave is.
Aren't we waiting until the Strykers go and do it?
What?
I'd like to go and have a look. It sounds like fun, but I don't know about everyone else.
Maybe once we're rested.
Maybe once we're rested.
Well, I'd
Okay.
like to get him somewhere a bit more secure first.
And
We-
at least
we-
send word to the Strykers in
And
case.
don't-
then
think-
we can go
I
and have a
don't-
look at the
yeah.
cool things.
Yeah, I don't think we'll wait for the strikers.
Nice.
I
No,
think
we definitely need
I think
to
as
tell
long
them.
as the strikers get to the village where all the people are,
Mhm.
then that's kind of the important bit, isn't it? Because then the people are defended.
And then we can have a look at the cool things.
Yeah.
So are you going to stay here with these while we take him back?
Mhm.
Okay.
Alright.
I'll look after your friends for you.
Yeah, they do need a little bit of looking after, to be honest. Who's going to drive the car?
I can drive the car.
Oh, you can drive the car?
Yeah.
Cool. I shall run ahead of the cart.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so you guys head off
What a strange little
with the
man
cart
he heads
and
off.
your equipment, and
Always speaking
you
gibberish.
travel for the day.
Well, we have got the gold, right? We've gone to get that.
I thought we decided not to.
Oh, I
dig
wasn't
up the
listening.
gold.
Sorry, we're not doing it.
I thought we were going to take that on the way back.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We're going to take it down a big hole.
I'm not going to comment.
I think you
I'm
just
going to
did.
be the biggest.
So on the cart, so Cormac's driving
Mhm.
and Poot's scouting.
Poodling.
Poolin.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Does he need keeping an eye on?
He seems okay. He's not actually like bleeding or
He's not-
dying
Yeah,
or
he's
wounded in
just,
any other way.
broken but fixed.
He's broken.
He's stable.
His busted limbs are sealed up.
Okay.
He's
had
not
a hard
bleeding.
day.
Okay.
He's just in a bit of shock.
In
So
which case,
keeping him company
yeah, probably
with your bow.
Yep.
Ready, keeping an
just
eye
in
out.
case. With my awesome perception of failing constantly.
Yes. Okay, so you guys trundle along in the cart for most of the day and make your way back to Oakheart. And it's pretty much as you left it. There's a little bit of smoke coming from a burning patch over to one side. People are moving about. There's, again, just the few people that were here before. Not massively busy. There's a warden on the gate, and they sort of see you approach. There's one standing to one side with a spear, and this guy's got a bow and arrow. And he kind of looks down. Clearly, some people are back from roaming about in the woods. Can I help you? Are you hurt?
Who's?
Well, you're at the front, but
I'm at the front.
I don't
Just
mind.
like, oh no, we're not hurt, but we're bearing grave news. Can we come in and speak? We were just there, so we probably.
You may. And they open the gates. The gates are quite sort of crappy palisade type,
Bit
flimsy kind of things. And as they open, they kind of wobble a bit. And they open them up, and you drive the cart in. And he comes down the stairs. What is this grave news that you bear?
This says, well, I am Cormac, with, I guess I got the letter to prove.
I was informed of an adventuring party that passed through here. However, I was assuming there were more of you. Have some of your fellows died in combat?
We've left them at Greenrise.
Ah,
Yes, yeah,
okay.
they're still Greenrise. Here is but Magnus, who I'm sure you know is in our cart. He's had a bad
Bad fall.
Yeah, he's in a bad way.
Stairs.
Just like he was. We have reason to believe that there are some corrupted further north past Greenrise. Risen, sorry.
well, okay. He kind of shakes his head and laughs a bit.
So
Okay.
How far away is he?
He's about 3 feet
They all
taller than
think
you.
it's
so-
about
3 feet taller.
They don't believe
He's
it.
not that far away, but he's
They don't believe
Just
it.
like why do you find this amusing?
because everyone's always coming out of the woods saying there are corrupted everywhere.
It's like, well, did you possibly?
They're
think
normally
it
people
was
who are trying to
true?
get inside the walls and screw over our town.
Just like, well, we were here and we've just been to Greenrise, and
It
it's
could be an
completely
elaborate
deserted.
ruse to gain our trust and then get back within the walls.
Yes.
Can I-
Chopped off your mate's
I
arm
use-
and leg
Can I
just to get in the walls.
Like, can I try and intimidate him into like?
He's
Just,
clearly something's obviously
I just
riled
put
this
that
guy
out
up. He's
on
not having
minus
a
one
good
charisma.
day anyway.
just what would I need to roll to like convince him to?
Do you want to persuade him or do you want to
With
shout him
minus one
down?
charisma.
I will. Well, either way, it's going to go badly.
I believe in you, actually.
But what would Cormac want to do? Would he want to
he
try
would
and
like
convince
to,
him?
He was trying to intimidate him. because
Okay,
he
Oh,
okay.
intimidation.
Make an intimidation roll then.
Ooh, mother, liquor on a lick stick.
17.
Nice.
Okay.
He's angry.
He takes a step back. Fine.
Still got the wild kind of. I'm going to kill you.
He's kind of. He's almost like can't believe he's stepping back from a 3 foot tall.
I'm still on my car.
It's like a really angry dog.
No, but he can see how tall you are. You know, you
Well,
are.
my ankles. My ankles. I don't have any armor on my ankles.
He's got sturdy boots on. Very well. If you say this is true, then I believe you.
Good. Our intention is to get I keep forgetting his name. No, to get Magnus back to the train, to get him back to the Baron, and let him call the Strykers. I would suggest you send some people back to the train and evacuate anyone that you feel like you need to, just in case.
How serious do you feel that this is?
Well, we're calling the Strykers to come here and help eliminate this. People have died.
At the moment, we're not entirely sure what's going on, but this guy's got some very bad stories, and there was no one alive in the camp, which isn't unusual. And can I kind of be like, as a fairly localish, I'll be like,
At
give him a
first
bit
he's
of,
like, huh, and then
I'll
you're
give him a
like,
bit of, that's not always a thing. They're out hunting or but crap, what was it? It wasn't Sharon.
Sharon.
No, it's not.
Shirin.
It's Shirin. There we go. But Shirin, we found Shirin, and she's spooked.
oh,
So
Ah.
Yeah.
And I guess Magnus is in the car. Is he kind of leaning over and just ignoring?
He's actually asleep at the moment. He's been.
Yeah, that's not bad.
He's
for him.
like knackered.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing for him. But yeah, so Shirin's spooked.
Shirin's spooked.
Yeah.
So we need someone to take the car.
He walks away. He
Magnus.
just walks away from you towards the stairs that he just came down from this kind of rickety thing, and you can see that beside it there is a bell, and he just goes over and goes ding 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 ding, and starts ringing it.
All right, and I just kind of nod and wait.
Fine, and he comes back. I shall gather everybody, and we shall head back. We shall first go by Tall Pine. I will talk with Hans. He has a sensible head on his shoulders, and we will either stay there and send riders down to Fallridge, or we will all move that way.
Well, we spoke to him on the way up, so he knows that we've come through this way.
Right. We may need your cart.
I don't think we're using it.
No, that's fine.
Do we give money for the car? We have to take it back.
Well,
But
it's
they're
going
heading the
back.
right
Well,
way.
we can tell him which
It'll be
stable
on
it
the-
goes to. I'm sure
yeah.
he'll sort that out.
Well, what about a deposit? Do we get a deposit? I'm not
Says
there,
the paladin hero.
Yeah.
Are you here?
Malnus can return the car, can't he? 'Cause
Yeah,
he's going
I-
all the way back.
I-
Also,
I want to-
Magnus owes the stable a horse, so if he brings the cart back, then that's kind of,
We don't know what happened to the horses actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, we
I'm
can,
assuming
we can...
that they're deaded. I will.
What do you
I
think?
will
Well, they wouldn't have
Do you
taken
think-
him down and
do you
shot
think-
him. We found him at the bottom of the
They
dungeon.
rode down them.
Yay!
They either buried him with the
He
taxis.
You just get there and there's like a set of legs sticking out
Set
of the
them
ground.
up and steal them.
There you go.
How long did it take you to get to Oakheart? Like, what time of day is it?
It's
It's a day, so we can
yeah, it's like
stay
8
here,
hours journey.
Stay here and head
Okay,
We
back
had a
in the
short
morning.
rest in Tall Pine.
So I'm going to.
So you
I'm
could
going
head
to
back and
suggest-
get there first thing in the morning.
So that was the idea. Is that we would just head straight back.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and wake up Magnus to
Okay.
know kind of what's
Yeah.
going on, explain the situation to him,
Okay.
get him to talk to the people in town that he must know some of them,
Mhm.
and just get everyone familiar with the
Yep.
situation.
Okay. The villagers, the score, 20 odd of them, sort of gather together and start to get their belongings together, and it's not as hurried as obviously the warden wants them to. But they all start to gather their things, and eventually they start to sort of form some sort of orderly group that could head off. He says, "Do you advise that we ride through the night?"
At this stage, I wouldn't like
No.
Very well.
whatever's up there hasn't got as far as the village does yet. So
we're-
it's not
we're
coming in
going-
this
And
direction.
at that point,
We're going straight back
And cut to
up. We're going straight back up
roll
the road.
initiative.
well, it seems
We're going straight
Damn
back
it.
up the road.
Okay.
So if we come back
I'm
in about
keeping
10 minutes screaming, then you'll know to go. But I know, honestly, you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You're slightly off screen then. Yeah, there you go.
so I just talk to I keep forgetting to say Magnus and say, are you happy to continue from here?
Yes, I will take word back and get the Strykers, and hopefully my folly will be forgiven and they will restore me.
I'm going to shake his arm gruffly and say,
that was awkward. Yes, he doesn't have an arm, but
well,
It's
depends
the other
on
one.
what arm.
Yeah, yeah.
depends which
Is that
arm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I may have noticed.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
shake his hand and he says, "It's been good to see you again.
Says,
I
"Me
hope
too."
I see you again."
Me too. just like, I want to find this guy who I intimidated as well. And just go to
Warden.
the warden. Just go to him and say, what are these? What happened with these other people saying they were corrupted in the woods? Were they just trying to get in?
Yeah.
Or do you not?
Oh, it's a bandit ruse.
Over years.
I see. And did they always come from the north, or is
No,
it just
just all
just
around.
around?
Yeah.
This is fair enough.
It's a fairy tale.
So
Well,
good luck.
That's what I thought it was.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
But
good-
yeah, take time to take what you need. But there's something going on up there.
We'll try and rest, and then we will head off first light.
So good luck on your journey, and
And to you.
Thank you.
many thanks. And head off.
Okay, so you guys head off.
Yay.
Right, back at Greenrise. You
You're all
guys
dead.
have been relaxing for the day, playing cards, you know,
Shooting
doing the
some
washing
people
up.
outside of school.
Rolling some dice, playing an RPG.
Would you like to?
Someone's an auditor.
I'm a level 5 computer programmer.
Oh my god!
So both of you make wisdom rolls.
Oh, I'm not good at wisdom.
Just wisdom.
Is it a saving throw or just a roll?
It's not a saving throw.
15.
10.
Okay, Saint.
Hello. It's
Sort
me.
of late afternoon. You are just out in the yard, stretching your limbs, going for a short walk. You've been in the house, a bit cooped up. And as you do, you
Catches your eye.
feel something.
A disturbance.
You've realised this
Sharon
day
is
that
moving closer.
your god Abutar has given you a blessing,
Ooh.
a magical blessing, and your senses have opened up to the world around you further. You're able to command magical energy in a way that you hadn't before. And as this kind of awakening has happened in you, you've also felt around you something disturbing. Almost like
a disturbance.
a background,
Corruption.
fingers down a chalkboard very far away.
Lovely.
Uncomfortable.
It's interesting because I don't know what it is. Therefore, it's unknown.
Oh,
and
God.
therefore
And it's coming
I'm
from
interested.
the direction that they had come from.
I'll go back in the hut and go, Priest, I sense a great disturbance.
And what would that be? Paladin.
Call you priest? That's your honorific, isn't it? What's an honorific for a priest of Ulrich? Not Ulrich.
Your scion.
That's a different guy. Your scion.
Yeah, priest, brother.
Priest.
Yeah.
I'm not calling you father. That's a bit
Yeah.
weird. Yes, I sense a great disturbance coming from that direction. I think that's probably where this cave is.
More than likely, that will be the corruption you're sensing.
Perhaps we should
Check it out.
investigate.
We get back in the morning.
Given the,
When
nature,
everyone else is back.
given the nature of it and an armed band went to deal with it and only 2 returns, perhaps we should wait for the others.
Oh, where's your sense of adventure?
No logic.
I think that's why he's got stats of wisdom.
Adventure is out there.
Adventure is out there, however, there is no use in throwing our lives away meaninglessly.
I believe. Alright, perhaps we should wait.
Okay.
I will go for another walk.
So you guys wait out the rest of the day, and it starts to get dark.
Great, why do we have to go dark?
No. They're now heading back at this
Oh, right.
point. And they'll arrive early morning. So
Oh.
you guys can go to sleep, rest,
Oh.
and you now have had a long rest.
Yay.
So you get all your hit points back, all your spells back, and all your other abilities that are based off long rests.
Cool.
And yes, you sleep through the night, nothing untoward happens, and then the early morning you guys arrive back at Greenrise. The small collection of log cabins is still pretty much dead. There's just
I think we'll have to have breakfast.
one building with some light coming out of it, but as the sun is coming up, the sky's starting to lighten, and
As you approach, I go,
it seems like a nice morning.
where's the cart?
I explain that what's his face? I always forget it. Magnus kind of needed it to travel, and he's gone back. So I explained the situation with the cart with him. If there is a deposit,
Is he
they'll
going
get
to
it back.
return it to his right? I was about to say. It's not about the deposit, it's about returning it to its rightful owner.
I'm sure they will.
Cormac gave him the receipt, told him
now
where
we
to
have
go.
to walk.
I'm gonna have a
With
nap
his chest full of
whilst
gold.
they're all
Well,
talking
we're
gobbledygook.
leaving the gold here until we've found out what's going on with the.
Okay.
I'm very excited to leave, so I think we should do it straight away.
I think we should have breakfast.
Oh,
Or
you
at least
did?
the Chinese.
I'm just having a nap
You're having a nap.
whilst they're talking
Okay,
gobbledygook.
sure.
So
No, I
I'll
think they're
speak in a
talking.
language he doesn't understand.
Okay, so you guys have just woken up, and the other 3 have arrived back and kind of walked through the night. So look a little bit tired, but as being brave, adventuring heroes as you are, it's nothing to put you off a fresh start. And as I said, it's a bright morning, so it seems that the birds are in the trees, and yeah, it seems all nice.
Good.
Yeah, let us venture forth into the unknown.
Okay, right. So, you guys start to head out, gather all your equipment and all your gear.
Can we just check with
Shirin?
Yeah.
She says I'll
about
show you where it is.
About the rope? Was it still left there? It was left there.
I have a
I
climb
left
kit,
it there.
but
So do I.
It's quite a deep shaft.
I've got a 50-foot rope.
I got boot spikes and things, but I've only got enough for me, I'm afraid. So.
Okay. Well, I'll show you where it is. It's up through these trees, and she's getting all her gear together. She's got a bow and stuff, and puts her boots on. Right. So if we head up, as she steps out the front door, she's sort of pointing. If we head up this way, here, we'll start getting quite steep. So watch your footing.
Is that where you sense the corruption?
And
It is, yes.
we'll be there shortly. It's not that far. Just be careful.
I sense the unknown.
That must come in really handy.
Yes.
There was something in the woods last time. I'm not sure what it was. You have to be careful because, as you know, my people have gone.
Could it have been bandits?
I don't know. I was helping Magnus out when we were attacked, and they were killed. I didn't even see their bodies as I left.
Well, let's keep it quiet as to not attract too much attention as to whatever might be.
Okay.
How
let's
close
go.
are the trees?
Sorry?
How close are the trees?
They're all around you.
No, as in, if I climbed a tree, could I move from tree to tree?
No, not quite. They're too dense. They're pine. It's kind of too difficult for you to move between them.
That'd be really awkward if you fell out of a tree as well. How did your character die? I fell out of a tree.
Okay, so you start making your way uphill, and it starts off quite steady incline, and then it starts to get steeper and steeper. And after a while, the trees do start to thin out a little bit, and you can see ahead this kind of crest of this hill above you, and a few trees up there as well.
Are the birds still singing? Or are they?
The birds are no longer singing.
Homeland?
And there are no squirrels or chipmunks or anything like that.
No Disney princesses.
But a badger.
Definitely not. Well, there's one. Anyway, so you guys make your way up the hill, and after a while she points up, and she's kind of stopped by a dense copse of trees. She points up, and you can see now near the top of the hill there is actually kind of rocky outcropping. So between some of those rocks you can fit through, and there is a small cave. In the base of the cave there is a shaft down. I've not seen anything like it really. It's like a chimney, but underground. Makes no sense to me. But and she points off to the side. You see those other boulders there? My party were clustered there, covering the entrance while I went in to investigate. And I heard awful commotion whilst I had descended briefly and found Magnus at the bottom of the shaft, injured horribly, and I bound his wounds as quickly as I could, tied the rope around him. I then climbed up and then pulled him out. When I had sort of got halfway up, I heard a commotion outside, and when I got out with Magnus, they were gone. Just gone. I don't even know if they're dead or alive.
And
I think they're dead.
Did you investigate where they were, or did you just?
There was a sign of fight and struggle. Nice. There was blood. There was arrows an arrow in a tree, and littered about weapons. I assume they were murdered and removed.
Will you be staying in Greenrise or making your way south?
To Oakheart.
What is there left for me to stay in?
Well, we spoke with the warden, and they'll be making preparations and moving south.
Well, I thought I would watch the entrance for you, so that when it's time for you to return, I can help you.
Thank you.
But I'm not going down there.
No. Are we going to track round to see what happened to the other people before we go down?
Yes. Well, I assume the scout would.
Okay. So you guys are going to have a bit of a look around the area, see if you can see anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go and have a look at the hole.
Okay. So everyone make a perception roll, and then tell me what they're trying to perceive at.
Can I use survival to see, or perception, sorry, rather to see if I can find tracks that lead off or drag marks or something
Yes.
to indicate
You
where.
could use survival if you want,
Yeah, well,
whichever's better for
And
you.
the coloured
they're
in
exactly the same.
dot is +2 or
You
extra
get your
dice?
proficiency bonus. Yep.
Right.
+2.
Yep.
And then whatever ability modifier relates to it.
21.
Can we just use our passive perception?
No, because you are actively. In fact, it should be investigation. Sorry.
What's the thing with 2 dice?
Investigation or perception?
Sorry?
What's the thing with the 2 dice?
Advantage.
So what's that one?
Investigation
So
instead
you-
of perception, did you
Like
say?
I've got
Investigation is
Right.
intelligence,
Okay.
but perception is
Can I use survival to look at
Advantage on what?
tracks and... No, she was asking me what advantage was.
Okay.
Can I use my survival rather than that to look for the dragon marks and tracks?
Yes.
Okay,
Dragon?
21.
What dragon?
Draw one. You bump into a rock.
I'm looking for
It's
evidence
be scattering lots
of
of dust over all these
what the
tracks.
enemy could have been. So
Okay.
I'm looking at like
Sure.
arrow heights and where weapons may have been, or
Yep.
footprints or
Footprints.
something.
Okay, cool.
Not a lot, like 13.
11.
Okay.
Awesome ranger.
11,
23.
23. And what were we, investigation?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So, Aurelian and Poot, you find that there are several tracks dotted around this area. You can see clearly a group of booted feet that were shuffling around the boulder area. And you can also see barefoot footprints and other booted footprints dotted around a wider area, sort of facing inwards, almost as if people were lurking around watching them. Arrows are all at kind of humanoid-y kind of height.
But are they all going out?
Arrows.
So if you think where the party was,
Yep.
are all the arrows going out?
You find one or two laying in the boulder area
Okay.
that came in, and there are a few knives that have obviously been dropped in a fight, or someone disarmed, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they look kind of crappy, roped together kind of blades from.
Kind of like what we found on the bandits, or worse?
Very similar.
Yeah. So because I've seen risen tracks before,
Yes.
I would know that they're not risen tracks.
These are people who are in full control of their limbs,
Yeah, okay.
moving about.
So they were attacked by bandits.
Oh, damn it, I forgot to ask about something. Can I make another searchy roll to see if there's any like black goo?
No,
Damn it.
but you don't see any black goo
So
because they rolled well enough.
So when we were staying at
Greenrise?
Greenrise, we searched around to work out where we thought the
No, that
most
was-
likely place
that was
was to
Oakheart.
That was
Bandit.
Oakheart.
That was
Was that Oakheart?
Yep.
So can we see the tracks that we found now?
Yep.
Are any going in that direction, or are
They-
the majority going in that direction?
No, they don't actually. They are going. Hang on. Let me get the map out. A
Yeah.
nice new map.
What's a map?
They're heading west. From the top of that hill that Greenrise is on.
Doesn't look like it was the risen that had done this.
There is a hole in this cave.
Caves
You found a hole.
generally
You
have-
nearly fell in it.
Caves generally have holes.
You're kind of squeezing your way between two rocks,
Ooh.
and you sort of burst through, and you skittered up to the edge of a hole and went, "Oh, there's a big hole."
There's a hole. Found the hole.
Okay.
I have dark vision, but can I see the bottom of the hole?
What is the range of your dark vision?
I'm 60 feet, I think.
Then no.
So my opinion is that because there's a slight chance that some of these people might be alive, that we should follow the tracks to try and get to them.
Alright, where are you looking?
Well, for the bandit tracks.
Yeah, to the
Yeah,
But
bandit
you did
I
find
can
some.
see the
Sorry, you
tracks.
did also find blood,
Sorry.
Okay.
But
but not loads
Alright,
of blood
but
and no
yeah,
dead bodies.
so there's
the
tracks.
bandits
There's tracks
actually-
over there,
Yeah.
and it's bandits.
Do,
Okay.
So
from
I've
what
seen risen
Boots and I have
tracks
seen, do
before.
the tracks lead anywhere in particular?
Yeah, west.
West.
They just seem to be going off into the woods.
Yeah, but I think we should head off that way, because if we go
Try and
into the
track the
cave
bandits.
and come out, beaten and bleeding, and
And then
then
bandits
there's
happen.
bandits there, I think I'd rather face the bandits,
Especially seeing as
and I'd rather go after her.
Sharin will be waiting
Yeah,
up here.
I'd rather go after Shirin's.
Well, plus if there's any of her people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should ask Shirin who she had with her, who was outside, because I mean, if they took out like 8 to 10 people, then we're not going to stand much of a chance, are we?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have
Yeah.
such little faith in your abilities?
Ooh.
Just,
think-
I've only just
I
leveled
think,
up.
I
I'm
think
not sure.
if they took out 8 or 10 hunters versus adventurers,
No,
there's a bit of a difference.
We can
there
ask
were,
Shirin.
there were 4 of us.
There are 4 people in the camp. Or,
No, there were 4 of us that came out here.
Right.
I went down the hole.
I mean, the fact that there are not bodies lying on the floor suggests that they don't really want to kill him straight away.
There
there must-
are some stories that some of the bandits have resorted to cannibalism because of low.
Well, they
resources.
might not have killed them to keep them
Yeah.
alive to eat. So
Yeah.
we should. I agree. I think we should go and look for
Alright.
them.
Is this hole a natural hole, or is it just a hole?
So, the gap you came through is a natural hole made from
Yes.
boulders and deposits and crumbling around. The hole in the floor is clearly perfectly circular.
Ooh, interesting. Is that relevant in any way to
Probably.
Probably
risen
done.
nests? Or...
Probably done magically, I would guess.
Oh, Arcana. Can I see if it's a magical?
Make an Arcana roll.
No. No, damn you, logic. 8.
You don't know of any kind of magic talking about doing this kind of thing. However, nature doesn't normally create perfectly circular.
And we wouldn't have the kind of tools to make a perfectly round hole
Yes.
like that.
There is a large rock to one side that a rope has been tied around, and there's a pile of rope sitting on the floor. There's sort of blood splashed about, where obviously Shirin had a bit of trouble getting Magnus out without
Presumably the rope's
bumping some
all
of his wounds.
bundled
It's
there,
all bundled
not
on
hanging
the side.
down
It's
the-
not hanging down. Well, it's like a little bit trailing over the edge, but it's all bundled there.
Well, I don't think we should dally. I think we should get on and see if we can track these people down.
I'm still in the case.
Yeah,
you're
I'm not
okay.
part of this
That's fine.
conversation. I'm going to light a torch and drop it down the hole.
Okay, you light a torch
Yes.
and you drop it down the hole.
It goes out.
Does it go out?
There's a gas explosion.
Plot twist!
Okay, after a while,
Yeah.
you hear it go. Plunk, 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 plunk.
Can I see it, the little flame? Or...
It's a dot like a star.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, interesting.
Saint.
Perception check. Yes.
Now, when someone's shouting your name, you. Oh, actually.
I'm
yeah,
in
no,
a hole.
actually, yeah, that's true.
We're going to look for the hunters.
There's a hole.
They might still be alive.
But there's a hole.
We're coming back.
Oh.
I'm going to go have a look at the hole. When he squeezed through, am I just like, whoop,
Yes.
next straight in
Yeah.
and have a look down the road?
So
Look
I'm,
at it.
I'm
It's
just going to drop my
perfectly
pack.
spherical.
and
Nothing
follow
in
the
nature
trail.
could create something
Okay.
like this.
Right.
This is obviously
Poot is off.
something.
Do you
We're
want
not
another
I'm
going
going
to
to
come
pay a
back.
Roll
lot of
for
attention to
tracking
where he's gone
stuff?
and then wait for the others.
It's fairly hefty.
Because I missed them initially.
Actually, make a
I
roll.
missed them initially, but
Make a
he's pointed out
tracking
where they-
roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to watch where he goes because I saw the tracks in the first place and wait for them.
Yes. But with her
How
ranger
convincing.
eyes.
You
Yeah.
haven't said anything
yeah.
yet.
However,
I've just told you the whole
While I'm waiting
spirit.
for them, I'm going to
Yeah.
cast guidance on myself.
What does that do?
It means I can add D4 to an ability check within the next minute of my choice.
Well, I did better than last time. 17.
Okay, right. You can
I'm trying my
see.
best to convince you
No, I
to.
know, I'm looking at
Come
that.
back.
I do really
Oh, look,
do.
there's some trees. Oh, look, there's some
But-
branches broken. Oh, I'm going
You
up.
can
For
see
our
that
safety,
there are
we should find
10 sets of feet.
Right.
One pair of feet was being dragged.
Okay.
2 were surrounded by 2 on either side,
Okay.
and the rest were walking free. One of which had a pronounced limp.
Okay, so we've
Like
got
he'd stolen
10
Van's
sets of
leg.
tracks. 2 look like they're prisoners, and
Yeah.
one's being dragged. Might be unconscious, might be already
And one's
dead.
limping.
Should be fairly. Anyway, have I convinced you?
So I don't know where you guys are.
Okay,
We're
so-
going for a walk.
You can go. I can go down the hole.
I
I've done
shall.
this sort of thing
I
before.
shall just move stealthily.
Oh, and if I'm explaining it to him, then you probably can't understand me either.
You know, stood there going, I have no
Well,
idea what's
I'm pretty
happening.
sure that you get the idea of what's going on.
So yeah, so I'll
Can I make a-
as
can I
I'm
make a
following the
persuasion
trail.
roll?
I
Yeah.
shall
Well,
move
I-
stealthily.
Okay.
I know that makes me a little bit slower.
I was still
Yeah,
stood
make a
by
roll.
the
Wax
tracks.
cover.
But,
Take a
Okay, well,
stealth
then
roll.
you're already there anyway. You're looking at tracks and going.
I'm making lots of loud noises. Well, actually, I'm probably not, to be honest.
You like, I can explain.
It's a fairly
let's see,
quiet
today.
area of.
Oh, I only got.
Two of
I
them
rolled
look
really
like they're
badly,
prisoners.
so I've only got
One of them
15.
is being trapped.
I rolled
Okay.
really bad.
I rolled really badly.
I rolled less than 10.
Okay. But you've got
15.
Okay. Right. Who else is going with
Neither's
Poot?
here at the moment.
I'm
Yes.
heading
I'm
out.
waiting for
I'm
these
deciding
people to come
loud.
back, and then I'm going to lead them off. To
Okay, well, Lena, you're with him, aren't you?
I've,
Okay.
I've come out of the cave because I can't convince him to leave.
Sure.
And just said, well, he doesn't want to come.
She.
Oh, sorry, she.
Hey,
Come
Don't
on.
assume my gender.
I'm going to hit him.
Me?
No.
You gotta come in the hole first.
No,
No, just
not
go
your
where-
character.
I was just like, where
We're just gonna let that.
where did the others go? Where did the others go?
They've gone into the woods after that. There are tracks that indicate that there are people surrounded and therefore prisoners, and one was being dragged.
Nice. I'll
You
meet
go
there.
about 100
Left
feet.
my
back. Might
You
have
go
been
about
more-
100 feet into the
Do
woods.
you want me to
Might
wait
have
for you?
informed Shirin
Oh,
that,
I was
you know,
waiting for
that-
you.
Okay,
Yeah.
you go and convince him,
I've left my
and then
pack
we'll
with
head
Shirin.
we'll head
Sure.
out together.
Okay.
Because
She's keeping an eye on
They've got
things.
prisoners. We need to go rescue them.
You guys go about 100 feet in
Fair.
when you see
Yeah.
hanging
Fair
from a
enough.
There
tree
you go.
by its
I'll come with you.
ankles.
That was easy.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
turn back like
I didn't know that.
I'll return 20
Person.
seconds later. Got him.
Who's had
Ah,
skin
don't assume my gender.
Lovely.
Right, so this
And it's kind of-
gonna follow.
Yeah.
there's
We're
one or
following-
two like crows that have ventured back to this area because it's such a tasty sauce
yeah,
that are dangling
What was
from the corpse
I was adding my
picking from
D4.
it.
Is there a rope
My stealth
Like-
is now 10.
here-ish that's hanging
Yes,
down?
yeah,
Like,
it's
it's
like
like
someone's
Bandit
thrown
or
something
something.
over
to
and then
not be certain because
Oh, we
it's
still
not
think-
necessarily a
Yeah.
hey look what we did.
yeah.
It's also potentially
Oh,
a hey look babe.
I'll be fine.
maybe have
Yeah,
make a
advantage
perception roll,
this time.
both of you.
Yay, this will go well. Bye.
Hey?
We've stealthed after.
We have stealth.
All of you.
Yes.
Okay, right. So you guys follow up behind, and you can see.
That's right, we'll cut him
Right.
down.
What did you get?
I rolled a 2.
Okay,
so...
we didn't get one. Okay. What did you get?
Oh, I got 11.
Okay.
So that's
Seems to be just a rope tied off down on a low branch. Okay, you guys come up and you see that these two have approached a tree which has hanging from it a corpse
Ooh,
which has had its skin removed.
lovely.
And they are about to, there's a rope which goes over a branch, comes down to another one lower down, and they're going over to cut the thing down.
cut the poor sod
Check
down.
them.
Would
Check
my
the
survival
tracks, see who
dictate
it
that
was.
so sunwise?
Yeah, I can do that. Or
Yeah.
are you going to get him down?
I'm going to.
I'll
Go
get
for
him
it.
down,
Go make a roll.
and you
go for
can see which one it was, whether it was a
Can
drag,
Make a mess
drag
when it
or limp.
lands.
I'm going to.
You're cutting the rope.
Poot's gonna
That might make noise.
look into that, and has suggested that I check the
There's
tracks.
a lot of rope down the bottom.
Check the tracks further up to see which of the 10 isn't there anymore.
Okay.
if that's
I'm going
better
looking
than
for the
obvious.
tracks as
Yeah.
well.
Okay. So you go ahead.
My,
Nobody's on there.
my I was going to say that.
Him, whatever. it is. Yeah, I'm looking for tracks.
Lena. Okay, make a roll.
Ooh.
That's good.
Ooh.
That's good.
Perception or
18.
18.
So I think
so
that's,
18
I think
before.
that's actually
Or
That's
survival.
against 30.
22 or
22.
something, yeah.
Nice.
where's investigation?
22.
14.
14.
Was it limp?
You two notice that the person being dragged is still with them,
Mhm.
and one other person being guarded.
Ah, okay.
However,
Limpy.
2 sets of tracks aren't in the main group.
Ah, okay.
Is the limp?
I
still
relay
there?
this
still
information
going, still
firstly to
going.
Yeah,
you.
How
And then
can we
to
tell how fresh the
you, 'cause
tracks
you're
are?
probably the
Or
closest next, aren't you? Yeah.
would that be
and you won't
something
have others
someone
to be
more
telling
skilled
you.
in this would?
And you're paying attention, whereas I don't know what those two are doing.
They are probably a day old at the most.
So two people are
So they might have a day's head start on you through the trees.
Can we search around to see if there's any?
Are you
Any
bringing the
remnants?
corpse down
I
from
think
the
we
thing?
should
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
it where it is.
I'll lower it down.
You lower it down.
Well, I
Yeah, I know.
And it's quite a tall person.
Okay.
It's about 6'5".
Cool. I'll investigate to see if I can find out what race it was.
Make a roll.
guessing it's going to have Sylph in there.
Natural 20.
Yes. It's a tailor. It's a half elf.
Ah.
It was.
Male, female, skinless?
Male.
Um,
Okay. Right. So you've dropped the body down. Lena and Cormac, you're ahead looking for other tracks. Make perception rolls.
on myself.
Not so good.
8. Let's get a really dark
get
colored
8.
dice on a really
Passive
dark
perception?
8.
8. Okay.
I'm looking at the floor.
Passive perception.
I'm following the tricks.
Okay.
Passive perception is more than 8, so can I use my passive?
What is your passive perception?
14.
14.
Oh.
Yes.
We got the exact same number.
You got the same character sheet. Yes, you can use your passive perception. You see ahead. It's not very clear. In a tree further on, something in the trees.
Squirrel. Predator.
I thought when you said you see a head, I thought it was
When,
literally a head.
when you say head, do you mean just like a movement, or do I see like a shape of a face? Or
No. Ahead of you,
Oh, ahead of me, I
Yeah.
see something in the tree.
you see something in the trees.
All right. I am going to.
Shoot.
Can I see? Oh, am I we're kind of by ourselves, or?
The two of you are ahead.
Yeah, but no, but
I'm doing it on purpose now.
are we?
You're about 40 feet away from the
Yeah,
other three.
we're moving.
No, but to
Are
each
you
other.
guys moving up now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or are you
To
checking
each
As
out?
soon as we've lowered the body,
Oh,
we're
we're checking
ready
out
to move
Roger.
on.
Okay, then. So
It's
we
not
kind
bad.
of note that I'm gonna like go.
We're checking out the body.
Stealth.
And then I'm going to sneaky stealth straight towards it.
Okay.
I'll come around.
Stealth roll or what?
Stealth roll.
Stealth roll. Good
Yes.
advantage. Because that was rubbish. I'll take the 4 though. Not a lot. 7.
7.
Not a lot.
Okay.
Not very stealthy.
You scramble through a bush,
So,
catching yourself on a few choice thorns, and burst your way through a bush. And you come out, and there, in the trees, is another body hanging in the trees.
I'll just holler.
Has this body
I love your
been
logic.
skinned?
I'm
Just
gonna
been
sneak.
skinned?
I'm gonna
Or
sneak
is there
right to that
chunks
person.
missing?
Why?
Make a
Notable
roll.
soul wounds? Is it investigatories? Investigatories.
That's not a word.
18 plus 2 is 20.
There doesn't seem to be enough flesh on certain parts of the body to account for the full body.
Are the hill tribes known to practicing cannibalism historically?
The only people you've heard talking about cannibalism is Verger clans in the mountains, which is a long way away.
Okay, long way.
Down here, you're just in the foothills, and
So
it's kind
there's
of
enough hunting here to.
yes.
I think we just carry on.
They're way ahead of me now. I'm still looking at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
course.
still
Just
looking
carry
at
on
the
and follow the trail. So if you
Okay.
want to see what the track says,
Mm-hmm.
see
Okay.
which one it was.
So you go ahead, and here it's getting hard to read the tracks. Make a roll. The 4 of you are moving ahead. You've now realised that Saint is still back with the first body, looking at it. But you make your way forward, and you can see now ahead of you, in a clearing, a few trees have been chopped down, rather haphazardly by the looks of things. You can see 3 figures standing around a large stump, and a figure is lying on that large stump, and they seem to be doing something. See you next time.